Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Andromeda Stone, the celestial gateway to community support and friendship, help when we can, as best as we can, knowledge and unconditional love for each and every one of you. So we welcome Khadija Hamid is back with us for a series on Esoteric Voice of Egypt. Welcome back, Khadija.
Good to see you healthy, Khadija.
Yes. Thank you. Nice to be with you. Oh, alhamdulillah, as we say in Egypt. Yes.
Amalish.
Right. Well, this is our actually
no intention of me leaving.
Yeah, good. That's right. They told you to stay, and you did. So we're going to hear a little bit about your near-death experience here in a bit. Yeah. We are as soon as we get through the introductions. Yep. As soon as we get through the introductions, we'll talk a little bit about it. So tonight, and welcome from Germany, Dalibor. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Hi.
And for those that have joined us in chat, hello. Good to see you and our listeners. We really appreciate your ongoing support. Tonight, we're going to do installment 7 of Esoteric Voice of Egypt, which features Khadija. She's been on a long break this summer due to all the hot temperatures in Egypt, and she's overcome a few close illnesses, and we're just so glad she's with us. And tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the awareness, expansion, lucid dreaming effects, and respiratory healing effects of the Ancient Blue Lotus, which is a very dynamic flower, very powerful flower that's been honored, respected, and held in high esteem all over the world since way back to ancient Egypt and probably beyond that. You've heard about a little bit of it when we covered the show with Khadija about the harem and the parties they had there and how the lotus was used to help with their passions, and it was a healing herb used to help people that had difficulties in that department. But prior to that, or even after that, it was honored as seen as an herb of purity, enlightenment, and self-regeneration and rebirth. As it grows from the mud, it reaches up to the sun, it opens up, it closes down, and it comes back again. So it's been long used as a symbol, even in Buddhism. Later on, way after the Egyptians, it was considered a symbol of the victory of spirit over senses, of intelligence, of wisdom, and of knowledge. And it's generally represented as a partially open bud whose center is unseen and is considered the embodiment of perfection of wisdom. So you'll often see the figure of Buddha sitting in the lotus flower for to represent perfect enlightenment. Not unlike many of us, the Buddhists believe that it's necessary to be reborn thousands of times, polishing your being through many incarnations until you finally reach nirvana, which they considered the highest state of consciousness that humans can possibly access. So the Hindus are similar. Their god is depicted sitting or standing on a lotus flower for the very same reason. It wasn't until Christianity where the lotus became a symbol of virginity, which is completely the opposite of its symbol and uses in ancient Egypt, right, Khadija?
Yes.
So when you see Mary Magdalene, Virgin Mary, Mother of Christ, she's often depicted with the lotus, and they called it the lily. They changed it from lotus to lily, but it's the same flower. But it can also mean growth, ideas for creation, for helping with creating, spiritual cleansing, and resurrection of life. So it takes on many meanings in many different cultures around the world. Lori has done a great job with Khadija of putting together a video this evening that we'll watch for a few minutes and after we say hi to folks. And Lori goes into more detail about some of the uses of the lotus. And we have some talking points that Dalibor and Lori can join in on with Khadija after that. But we do want to catch up with Khadija. And before we do that, we'll just say a quick hello to the folks that have joined us in the chat.
We've got Emerald Eagle. Good to have you. Michael Musgrave. Good to have you with us. We got Kills, my sister. Good to see you, Kelly. Been missing you. Grandpa Brian 420, always good to see you. Truth Seeker, always a pleasure. Lucky Stone, love it when you're here. Good to see you. Susie Q, love you. Let's see, who else do we have? Gaza, Backyard. Hey, good to see you. Just had a birthday, didn't he? Hope you had a great birthday.
Yep.
Audrey, beautiful. Good to see you.
Yay, Audrey.
Oh, I'm so happy to see you.
Oh, we finally caught her on a night when she's not working.
That's great. That's great.
My God.
Yippee. Walking Water. Let's see. I think I've got everybody. Yep, that's about it. So welcome everyone in chat. Good to have you with us. Yep. So we've got about a 20-minute video, and it's really good. It goes through a lot of the experiences, and Khadija talks a lot about what's going on in this clip. So we're gonna run that clip when we're ready, right, sis?
Yeah, and if the panelists can remember to put yourself on mute, to mute your microphone, so that we don't get a lot of background noise while the video is running. It's what, 19 minutes, Lori? Somewhere around there?
Yeah, it's just under 20 minutes. So
and what we'll do is, like we've done before on Voice of Egypt, is we'll come back and discuss with the chat room and answer and let Khadija tell us a little bit about her story. Mm-hmm. All right?
Yeah.
Sound good to you, Khadija?
All
Thumbs
right.
up. Okay. I'll put myself on mute.
Okay.
Here you see Blue Lotus oil, Blue Lotus bread, Blue Lotus fragrances, all being presented to the king. And here he is presenting incense to Isis and Osiris.
Blue Lotus, Nelumbo nucifera, or blue lily, is a flower that has had a majestic stretch of limelight back through thousands of years of history and across cultures as varied as the Egyptian, Mayan, Syrian, and Thai. It's a flower of such beauty, intoxicating scent, and inebriating effect that it has spread from culture to culture like a wildfire. And it has rightfully earned its place in the history books as one of the most wonderful and significant flowers we have access to. Physically, it's a small, round, blue flowering species that floats atop lakes or other bodies of water. The flower buds rise to the surface over a period of 2 to 3 days. When they're ready, they open in the morning around 9:30 a.m. and close in the early afternoon around 3 p.m. Now in this next clip, it's very interesting. You're going to get a chance to listen to the sound of a blue lotus. This is used today's technology to pick up the vibration. It's quite interesting. Listen carefully. First of all, there's a really important note to make on the difference between blue lotus and blue lily. There's a lot of confusion on the web between blue lotus, Nelumbo nucifera, and the blue lily, Nymphia cerulean. Some sites use the terms interchangeably, but they're quite different flowers in appearance and effect. It's double confusing because in India they colloquially refer to what's scientifically known as the blue lotus species as the blue lily. And this double nomenclature has kind of spread throughout the world. I guess lotus sounds a bit catchy than lily.
From the sacred land of Egypt, in the blue lotus pools, holding the great sacred flower known as the blue lotus, is actually a water lily, Nymphaea cruelia. Period. I have the only pool in Luxor with the real plant. Period. I actually am. What, honey? My baby down here. Hi, rocket in your pocket. What do you want? Hi, sweetie. She loves me so much. Her name is Africa Rocket in Your Pocket because she has a Saturn V rocket on her nose. Anyway, back to the subject. Meditation people are going to be invited to come and sit by this pond. Certain selected groups of them will be invited to come down into the water and do inhalation therapy with the living plant. There's nothing like it in the whole world. I know you can get blue lotus in dried peas, but you can't imagine what it's like to get the blue lotus from its source as it grows and sings and is not being torn out of the water, period. What you see floating along here is algae. It is not a problem, but I have to make it go back down to the bottom twice a day so it doesn't interfere with the growth. I wish I had a zoom on this thing. Anyway, you can see here how they grow. The plant is the strongest medicinal plant for people with sexual problems. Period. It's a natural form of Viagra. Period. But it's for men and women, thank you very much. We have troubles too. So plan your trip to Egypt to come to visit, and you will be sitting by this pool every morning and allowed to come down into the water. I'm going to get close I can. This plant is known to generate joy in the heart. That's why you see it all over the walls and being presented at banquets. To inhale this plant opens your heart chakra completely. You feel so much love for the whole universe when you see it. I invite all of you to Egypt, where I'm going to have a meditation stool all around here so you can sit. During the winter months, I don't know if it's going to be blooming because it does have a cycle. It loves full sun, that's why it's so sacred. Once again, period. Read my page, please, and you will see how to reach us. We just awarded a full paid vacation trip to Miss Nikki Davy, who has been very consistent with us in donating her $10 a month donation to raising the temple. It isn't about how much you donate, it's about consistency, period. People will be charged to visit this beautiful pool because I have the only flower growing in Luxor. My friend Bakr Fahmi in Saqqara has something called the Blue Lotus Guest House, period. He gave me the plant, which I've been propagating. He has about 4 or 5 pools up there. And he has a wonderful place called the Blue Lotus guest house, period. I can put you up there. It's very reasonable, but it's more like a European style of staying, period. You will have your own room, but you share a bathroom, which is very European, but we want to redo the hotel, and we will, where it has ensuite bathrooms. But anyway, when that comes, so the price will go up. But right now it's very cheap, and there's no one here, period. So why don't you try to plan your trip anytime from now until March of next year. Next year is the celebration of the 100-year anniversary of the discovery of King Tutankhamun by Howard Carter. And there are going to be huge things going on here. We are going to have operas, and we're going to, I don't have to say comma, this is the house, okay, where you will be an honored guest if you win the contest. And Nikki is going to have a cruise down the Nile, as well as be taken to meet members of the Department of Antiquities, and also to visit the Great Temple herself with us as we show her the well of Jesus Christ, period. Excuse me, guys. I had my hand over, I may have had my hand over the camera lens, but never mind. The Blue Lotus, or the Blue Water Lily Nymphaea Coelia, is one of the most powerful plants and the most powerful plant against the treatment of cancer. This was taught to me by a chemist, a botanical chemist, who said the flower holds the properties to destroy cancer. That I don't know. I only know that I love this plant with all my heart. It is sacred. You see it all over the temples, and I will be talking to you about it as I walk with you and its properties. You will see King Amenhotep III on his face, offering the blue lotus to the great gods and goddesses, period. Don't think they don't exist. They are still thought forms, and if you're lucky and you're sensitive, you may see one. Those staying with me here at the guest house, or I should say the sanctuary of Bastet, which I can take probably 2 or 3 guests, and that's it. And only those interested in the project are being allowed to stay in the guest house. Otherwise, I'm going to put you on a boat or in a hotel. But if you are our honored guest, you will be staying here, and no expenses are charged at all, period. So if you want to enter the contest, it costs $10, period. If you have the funds and want to make a big donation, go ahead. Because the worst thing that can happen is nothing, and the best thing that can happen is you will be a winner of the next contest, which will end in September of 1922, and selected the next person who will be given the chance to come to Egypt. Now, folks, I am an expert in the 18th dynastic rule of Akhenaten and Nefertiti. You will be allowed to go to Tel El Amarna, the city of the great pharaoh, and probably, if Dr. Kemp is there, meet Dr. Kemp, who's been excavating there for 30 years or 40 years, period. You will also meet Professor Faisa Heikel, who is one of the most intelligent and great ladies of Egypt, period. She was the first lady Egyptologist, and she taught at the University of Cairo, the American University of Cairo, for many years. Hieroglyphs and the history of ancient Egypt, period. She's a fountain of information, and I promised her a trip down the Nile when I get a group together, or someone else does, comma, you will be in her presence, the presence of true greatness. Okay, this is enough for right now. I am Khadija Hammond. Thank you for your attention. Enter the contest by going to www.teambastet.com and read all of that, because that is telling you what we are doing. And there's an article there that I wrote for Nile magazine that gives the history of the area and what is going on. So, God bless you all. And I hope that you are not afraid of this COVID. It is a karmic type pandemic. I can't tell you more until you come here and I take you into the temple of Sekhmet, the great lion-headed goddess of destruction, disease, war, pestilence. And when she turns her anger into joy, she becomes the domestic cat, or the goddess Bastet, period. Some of these powers are interchangeable, and they are called netter, which means that unseen thing which causes things to come into being. And it's symbolized by a flag, because you don't see the wind moving the flag, but it's nevertheless there. And this sign is also this sign for beauty, Nefertiti. The beautiful one has come. Nefer Ammon, the beautiful Ammon. And my favorite, of course, is Nefertun, the son of Sekhmet and the god of the blue water lily. So please plan to come. Bring 5 people with you if you can, and I can put you on the Dahabea Lady Bastet. And if you win the contest, you will be taken on a sailing trip down the Nile to Aswan. So help me with this, people. I cannot pay again $50,000 out of my own pocket for the next excavation. If I had it, I would do it. In fact, I did it last year, wiping out my checking account, but I don't care. I will get enough money, it's coming, to live on and to help reserve her temple. And that is what my mission is to bring this temple back to life, because it is a holy place, and also it will provide hundreds of jobs for the people in Zagazig, which is where the university is located in Egypt, period. Down the street from Bubastis's temple is actually the temple of Bastet. There is a veterinary school of medicine. Isn't that interesting? The area around this temple was a medical university, because all the priests and priestesses of Bastet were physicians, period. That is why the Christ family went there. And they took care of them until they were ready to go on down the Nile, where they ended up in a place called the Mountain of Birds. And they stayed in the cave there, taken care of by the Essene Brotherhood, period. None of this story of Christ shows you exactly what they're talking about, but I will tell you the Essene Brotherhood was an offshoot of very, very holy people who lived in Qumran in Israel. And they could recognize great masters that came, and they recognized Jesus as the next Messiah. So they took care of him. I've gone up there. It's beautiful. It's in Middle Egypt. I can take you there if you like. And up there is the original cave where the Holy Family stayed, period. Folks, when you go in that cave and meditate, you have got a love coming out that you would never imagine, because Christ continues to radiate from this cave, even though it's been a long time. So we have many things in store for you. You will go and visit the Holy Temple, drink from the well of Christ, and be brought down to, well, probably you'll go to Saqqara first in order to see the Blue Lotus there, and then you will be brought down to Luxor in order to inhale the plant when it is first blooming. This is called inhalation therapy, and you have in your nose certain glands and certain organs that take the essence straight into your body. You will know that as soon as you inhale deeply that something's going on. All right, this is enough now. Again, www.teambastet.com, and you can enter the contest or contact me personally at ladybastet15@gmail.com. Thank you so much for your attention.
So, a little history on the Blue Lotus. The most famous of the ancient societies that revered the Blue Lotus was that of the ancient Egyptians. It was basically the party drug of the ancient Egypt. Imagine, if you will, secret temple gatherings of elite society sharing sacred wines specially imbibed with Blue Lotus extract. These parties, much as the rest of Egyptian society, were sexually themed. The famed aphrodisiac qualities of the Blue Lotus led no doubt to the religiously charged orgies. Yet the place of the flower in Egyptian society extended beyond its uses as a high. The typical woman in the street would wear beautiful blue lotus flowers in her hair or headdresses as a fashion statement. In fact, the significance of the flower is such that it is even cited in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, one of the most important historical artifacts that remains from the proud civilization. Ancient blue lotus flowers were also found scattered over Tutankhamun's body when he was uncast in 1922. And to top off the list, of blue lotus was exported by the ancient Greeks when they stumbled across it. Wouldn't you? It's actually thought to be mentioned Homer's Odyssey itself. Awesome.
Yep. You take yourself off of mute now,
Yep.
Khadijah.
Yep.
That was great. Thank you.
Oh,
It's a lot
thanks,
of
guys.
information.
I was weeping.
Yeah.
You touched it, but I want to explain something to everybody, please.
Yeah.
Okay, the blue water lily. It is not a lotus. It's a water lily. It grows. It's a different species than the actual lotus. Now, the pink one you saw is Nicefero nelumbo, which is the pink lotus, and they're doing experiments with it. And I have a pool of them. I have a pool of Nicefero nelumbo, the pink, which I'm going to be experimenting with also. It's supposed to be for longevity. They took a seed from that plant that was 1,200 years old. They planted it and it sprouted. Where was it keeping the life force all those eons or whatever? So the thing is, they're doing experiments with it for longevity drugs, for to make us young again. But I can promise you that
That's interesting.
it didn't really have a fragrance. I smelled it, but it didn't have a fragrance like Nymphea. I call it Nymphea because I love the name Nymphea. It sounds so pretty. It's like a nymph, you know. It's a perfect thing. Come here, baby. Come here, sweetie. I got a beautiful one here. I want to show you. Come here, darling. Come here, honey. This is the Sanctuary of Bastet. We're going to be a guest house registered in Egypt. And I have enough room. A lot of things have happened. First of all, my husband, who is one of my best friends, I've known him 30 years. My poor husband is 74. And I said, what would make you happy? And I said, because I can't do what I'm doing and be wifey wife. I said, I'm a writer, I'm a musician, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm doing this project and I don't have time to do nothing. I said, would you like to marry another woman? And he goes, yeah, that would be a good idea because I have to live up in Tanta, up by the temple. And I said, well, I'm not going up there. I'm going to live in Luxor. This is my place. I can't go anywhere but Luxor. This is
Yeah.
it. Oh, come here, darling. Come here, honey. Look at this little face. Come
I'm
here, baby.
still
Come here.
confused between lily and lotus. You know, did they both grow in water?
Yes, but the lotus flower raises up high above the water, high up. But also the lily, it's a lily and it floats on the water, but it raises up too. But they're two different species of plant. They're not the same at all. But the water lily, there are different varieties of water lilies too, and different varieties of lotus. But Nymphaea is a one species. Nymphaea coelia is one species that is the one. They call it the narcotic water lily, but it doesn't. Do you know it doesn't have any narcotics in it? This is the thing. And I read that they did experiments. No, it doesn't have it. So they try to do that because of the effect it has.
Well,
Now,
which one is
what
it that helps you with your breathing? The
Helps you
lily
with
or
your
the
breathing?
lotus? Yeah, which one has respiratory?
The lily,
benefits?
the blue
The
water
lily.
lily, the blue
blue water
nymphaea.
lily.
Just say
Okay.
nymphaea. Then you could see behind you is a type of water lily, but that's not nymphaea, because nymphaea's leaves are long, and it's more of a light color. You know, that's a species that's behind you. Okay, this is the blue water lily where you're behind you. That's Ra coming out of the nun, which is chaos. And the first, they show chaos. See the serpent? See the serpent back here behind you? It's the serpent in the water. That's Apep. So every time the universe goes back into itself, it's called the nun. The Apep is the principle of chaos, all right? And rising out of that water is the blue water lily. And when it opens, Ra is starting to create again. See, that's why he's got his mat. He's going, be quiet. You know, it's like the secret. So he comes out. It's always shown as a young boy because it's his next incarnation being created. And it's the most holy thing. When you see that flower opening in the morning by itself, I go down into the water with them now every morning to clean. I clean the pool. And I do it with my hands. And I take each leaf and I love on the leaf and I agitate it just a little bit to get any what do you call it? Any algae off the leaf so it can breathe better. And I swish it just very gently so it can have photosynthesis easier. I do that with every single leaf. Hi, darling.
Wow.
Hi,
So you wade around down in there in that pond.
Yeah. And so yesterday there were 3 flowers blooming. Now they were buds when I went down. Come here. Don't do that. I didn't want to step on the computer. There were 3 blooming, and I watched them, but they were buds, and I watched them open. I stood there with them as they opened, and I could hear, that sound.
Yeah.
I was meditating quietly.
That sound
I could
is
hear them
so
singing.
angelic.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
it
they
is.
sound like a bunch of angels. They sound like, but anyway, so I went down in the water and I took the leaf in my hand gently and I said, good morning, beautiful. I put my face down into the stamens, right in the middle, all those high stamens. There's a sun. It's round. It looks like the sun. That you can't see it there because it opens and there's a round, it looks like sun with things coming out. Hi, sweetie. And Rocket in your pocket wants to say hello.
Hi, Rocket.
Hi.
Hi, kitty.
Rocket Man burning up my fuse up here alone. See the Saturn V on his nose?
Yeah.
See, I got Saturn V right here on my nose.
You know, a couple months back,
He's
you
amazing.
got a couple months back. You had that shall not be named, and you overcame it. Didn't you use oil from the lily or oil from the lotus?
Or
To
did
help
you
you?
inhale it?
Yeah, or did you
The
inhale
flower
it?
itself.
Well,
Can you?
when I was sick, guys. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was curious
On
as
what?
to the effects of it and what you experience when you've got this in your system.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what it does. Come here. I want to show you this baby. Come here. Come here. This is my sweetie. Come here. Quit. She's going to fight me now. She's a silver mouse. You see that? Hey, honey.
Mm-hmm.
She knows I'm on her. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, she's not happy.
I she knows I'm alive. She's funny. Usually she comes, all right, what happens is this, and I can promise you that it's real, all right? Because I was sick a couple of weeks ago and nearly died.
All right.
And I didn't go, the flowers, at that time, let's see, I'm trying to think. They weren't blooming yet, or they were in a cycle where they weren't blooming. But anyway, I was too ill to even think about it. This is how bad it was.
Yeah.
And recently, I went down into the water. I just got drawn in there, and I never felt so much love in all my life surrounding me, because they have this energy, and it just goes all over the pool. You smell it. When I water in the morning, I sprinkle, like it's raining, gently to wash off the leaves, to give the little blooms some water. And they say thank you, because all of a sudden you get this fragrance. It just comes up. And my friend Bakwa says, they're telling you thank you. And I said, I know they are. And so I went down into the water, because I've never done this at Bakwa's. He doesn't do this either. He's going to start doing it when he finds out what I'm doing, because I'm going to have him, he's my brother in every way. I always plug his little guest house. It's really kind of a hostel. It's a hippie place. It's not a 5-star hotel. I put my husband in there when I was interviewing him for marriage, and he was complaining the whole time, let's go back to the Mina house. But the Mina house is like $250 a night. And I said, no, this is like $10 a night. I said, I'm not putting you in a 5-star hotel. I said, you got to get used. I said, we're down here with the Lotus. That's the whole idea. So anyway, my husband was my best friend for 30 years. And he was the Grand Pumbaa of Antiquities, director of Karnak and Luxor temples, Valley of the Kings and Queens. He was the director of the Eastern Delta. I mean, the guy was up there. But of course, he makes absolutely zero, zilch, hardly on retirement, because they just don't have the money. Egypt's a poor country. Yeah. So, but anyway, so I had decided that he needed a new lift. And I said, why about you marry a young woman, or a younger woman than me? And she can go live with you in Tanta. And I said, she'll take care of you and I won't have to worry about it. Well, I didn't even hardly say that till he was looking. He had everybody looking for him a wife. It's so funny. He's Amenhotep III. He loves ladies. He loves women. He's horrible. They used to screw around on his wife all the time when he was younger. Handsome, gorgeous man when he was younger. Still handsome. But anyway, he was so happy when I said that.
Khadijah, I love that story, but I am so curious about when you inhaled the lotus flower. What feelings did you experience? It's like really, like, my curiosity is totally piqued.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if you can elaborate on the physical aspects and how you feel.
Yeah,
and
what happens is
the feeling of love.
What happens is that you have a rush. When you inhale, it's the most gorgeous smell you've ever had, because it's still attached to it's not been torn out of the water. It doesn't have any stress, and you have been giving it love. No, it's more beautiful than a rose. I'll tell you that. It's 100 times more beautiful than rose.
I hear it's very potent and very sweet.
Wow.
It's a sweet, but I don't think it's sweet.
Is it strong like lavender? Lavender is really strong.
Very, very strong when it's left alone in the plant. Now, when you take it out of the water and dry it, it still has the properties which it lets go in wine. I've got red wine. I call it the red and the blue. Red wine laced with lotus, an elixir, which I can't give the secret of it, but that is strong. The elixir is very strong, but my favorite way of doing it is inhalation. And I didn't realize that inhalation was the way to do it. That's how the ancient people did it. You always see them with their nose in it. They've got it up to their nose.
Julie Straw asks,
always.
Is it intoxicating?
Not like alcohol, not that kind of intoxication. What happens is you feel a rush, like your heart's going to burst open with love. I don't know how else to explain it. Pure love.
I've
Pure love. It's not associated with anything other than divine love. It is love for everything on the planet. It's love for everything in the universe. It's love. I don't know how to explain. It's like enlightenment. It's like having a dose of enlightenment.
Yeah. Does your body go in through any kind of feelings other than the euphoric
you feel euphoric. You feel sexual. You feel very
Okay.
sexual. It stimulates the root chakra.
Mhm.
And I think men would probably get an erection. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be honest here. Men would
Mhm.
probably get an erection and the woman comes close to orgasm. That's
So
how strong
natural
it is.
Viagra.
Wow.
Very, very
Natural
natural.
Viagra.
Mhm.
But see, the Egyptians did not look at sex the way we do. We didn't have the Victorian crap. They didn't have
Right.
all that. They celebrated because the erection of a man and the sexual energy of a woman is the creative force
Right.
at work. And so
Absolutely.
they worshipped it in the form of Min Ammon, which
Mhm.
was Ammon with an erection. You'll see it all over the temples. And they're handing him a lotus flower, you know, and he's like this. He's got his arm out, like almost like a measuring device. But in that same temple, I couldn't believe it. The temple is called the Southern Harem. I can't wait to take you guys there. Of course, Schwaller Lubitsch calls it the Temple of Man. He didn't even know what he was talking about because it isn't. It's called the Southern Harem, the place of the goddess of during the Opet festival, when they bring Ammon from his temple and shrine in Karnak temple all the way down to Luxor and meet Mut or Sekhmet, or the goddess, if you will, in her temple. That was her temple.
Right.
And of course, there's all kinds of statues of thigh, man, the body, and all that, like Schwaller said. But it's really the mating place, if you will, which they
Right.
celebrated during the Opet festival, which was spring, which was the beginning of all life, and which was the beginning of, say, new children coming, new cattle, new flowers, new everything.
Right.
And so it's a great big celebration in which they had a parade. Guess what? Now, this goes along with it. They had a parade from Karnak, which is about 2 miles from Luxor. There was a road that joined the temple, surround each sphinxes along the sides, all the way down. They just finished repairing that road, and they're going to open it. And Sisi's coming to open it. It's a big deal. Now, what I want to do is, because I'm in touch with all these people from Antiquities Department now. I want to do an Opet festival. I want to have a real one and have the flowers and everybody, not lotus, but just flowers, because lotus is too rare. Maybe someday. But they used to use lotuses. They used to use, they brought the boat with Ammon in it, the priesthood, and of course it was closed in the shrines. You weren't allowed to go near it or it'd knock you down. It's like the Ark of the Covenant, right? So they're bringing this boat down, the priesthood, and it's surrounded, imagine, millions of people on each side, cheering and throwing flowers. And they're bringing this thing down to meet her, the mystical marriage. So her temple, she has her boat, she has her shrine, she has her what. They bring the two shrines together, close the doors, and no one's allowed in. No one's allowed in the temples to begin with. This is what people don't understand. They're walking around in Karnak, but they were never allowed in it. Only the priesthood.
In the temple.
Only the priesthood.
Sacred area.
No one else.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still charged up with, you go in there and you can feel it when you're barefoot. I go in there barefoot all the time.
Now, this is from the
But
actual.
the Blue Lotus is,
Okay.
yeah, back then it was prolific. They had millions of them growing because where its home base is Uganda.
Right.
And I remember flying into Uganda when I worked for a charter airline, and crying my eyes out as we flew over so-called Lake Victoria. I don't know what its name is in Uganda, but anyway. And I knew that was the birthplace of the Blue Lotus, and the tears were coming down my face. I've been involved with this flower for 50 years, more than that. But anyway, that picture you saw with the black man with all those lotus,
Yeah.
that picture in the black man with the head, a whole bunch of flowers. All right. His name was Sunday Justice. I love it. Sunday Justice was a Ugandan man who was going to, we were going to work together, and we were going to bring it back. So he found it growing wild, and those are wild blue lotus. Those, do you see how big they are? They're huge.
Yeah.
So anyway, he picked a bunch of them, and I told him how to do it. I said, you hang them upside down and let them dry naturally, and then send them to me. And he sent me a bunch of dry blue lotus in a packet from Uganda. The next day he was walking down the street and somebody hit him with the car and killed him.
Oh my God.
That's a true story. I was devastated because he was my contact in Uganda. So pretty soon his family contacted me. And of course I had already paid him. I paid him like the equivalent of 6 months worth of salary. They couldn't believe it because I paid him well. And I said, you will be my representative and you will do this with the flower, you know. And I said, send it to me dry and then I can make teas from it, right? Hi, sweetie. Hi, darling.
So,
Anyway,
Khadijah,
yes.
Lori stumbled across a really good article that talks about different effects of this plant. And
Mhm.
one of them was a euphoric high and
You have no idea.
a dreamlike state. Do you want to talk about it, Lori, or
No,
Dalmor read that too?
you don't have a dreamlike state. You don't.
Well, this man says he had a pleasant
probably was
feeling of
doing
warmth. He had a pleasant feeling of warmth around his head, his upper body, and a dreamlike feeling as if the life itself were a waking dream. He smoked it. He said he ordered a potent resin extract of Nymphea
Oh my God.
Aurelia.
That's it.
He proceeded to smoke the material and found it produced an opium-like high. The euphoria from this method was more pronounced and enjoyable being by myself at the time. I made the rest of the resin into a tea when I got home, and I spent the rest of the night admiring the mild psychedelic effects, which I would characterize as a cross between the dream state of opium and the mild visual effects of cannabis.
Well,
Right.
imagine the resin is probably made from like 500 plants, 500,000
supercharged,
blossoms.
huh?
Because, well, yeah, because you don't. Let me tell you something. When you dry the plant, if he made a resin from it, then he must have had 200 or 300 plants, flowers. That's not the way it was meant to be done.
Well, he said here.
Overdid it.
He said
He
here.
overdid it. I'm sorry.
I
You're not
found the
supposed to do that.
effects to start after about 15 to 20 minutes. Immensely pleasurable. The euphoria isn't unlike
Of
that.
course.
It isn't unlike that produced from opiates, but it isn't quite like it either. It reminds me more of the state of mind produced from MDMA with a sedative effect similar to that of benzodiazepine. There are wonderful effects in the area of sensuality and eroticism. Not to be too descriptive, but the first time I was involved with my current girlfriend in a passionate way, I was under its influence. I was enjoying the flavor and taste of the plant itself as well. So he could taste it, and it was in his system. So it turned him on, made their experience more passionate.
Yeah.
But see, you're doing damage to your lungs. I don't care what anybody says when you smoke. When you inhale the real flower, though, holy shit. Not only are you getting the effects, but the plant is alive and you're getting the prana from the plant.
That's
when
why
it's
we
dead,
were so
you don't get
curious
prana.
about
You don't
your
get prana.
experience. Yeah, because you're
because
inhaling
you
it
get-
directly from the plant.
You get the most beautiful feeling of love. I don't know how else to explain it, like enlightenment. It's almost like samadhi because you merge,
Big ol'
you
love
start
bomb.
looking around. You start looking around and you're one with it. You're one with the universe. You feel it because the plant has given you enlightenment. It's opened up your chakras. It's opened up your higher chakras.
Yeah.
Right? So some of these people, they're not enlightened at all. They haven't done any meditation. And the first thing it opens is the root chakra, of course, where everybody's centered, where the Kundalini is centered in your root chakra, and it's all sex.
So it's instant
But if you're
expansion.
centered in your heart,
Yeah.
well, if you're centered in your heart, your consciousness.
Well,
is
he did
centered in your
another
heart.
experiment with his girlfriend where they made a tea and they drank it as a tea. It was much more mild effect, but it had the same outcome in that it extended their passion by double the amount of time that they normally would have engaged in a passionate act. So the tea didn't have the same euphoric effect or the same mind-blowing effect or dream-like stage, but it had other effects. So I guess if you take it as a tea, and you took it as a tea, didn't you?
I
When you were sick?
have. No, I didn't.
Oh, you inhaled it also. Okay. Phew.
No, what?
Yeah.
I took it as a tea one time.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
So
My friend Joan and I were in Fort Lauderdale, and one of my friends had some Blue Lotus tea, and she is an expert at making. She makes oils. She makes stuff. She goes, well, take a little bit of this. We didn't know how much to make, so we took about a big pinch of it, put it in a pot, and brewed it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sitting there looking at Joan. We're drinking the tea, and she goes, "Holy shit!" And I go, "Well, you're not kidding me. I can't wake up." It made me sleepy, and it also made me euphoric. KG is describing also what the man from the article. Both sound like MDMA. No, MDMA. I've had taken MDMA. All right, it's higher than MDMA. All right. Sorry,
Wow.
guys. It's higher.
Wow.
Because
That's
it affects
interesting.
this chakra and this chakra and this chakra.
Yeah.
Whereas MMDA can sometimes affect the heart chakra, but you don't get
Mhm.
this. You don't, there's a reason why when you have the crown chakra open, it's represented as a lotus. Have you ever seen that? The 1,000
Yeah.
petal lotus, it's
A
called.
crown. Yeah.
Because it blows it wide open. It blows your crown. It blows your heart. You just merge with God. I don't know how else to explain it. Because
Wow,
when
that's
it's
amazing.
living, it is representing the angelic kingdoms. You can hear it singing. It's
Yeah,
an angel.
absolutely.
It's like angels.
Yeah.
Angels don't always appear in the form of human beings, And so you're
Right.
with the angelic kingdom. You can like, I don't know how to describe it. MMDA, I did that. Been there, done that.
Gotcha.
It's down there compared to this. I'm not kidding.
So,
I had
Khadijah, how
MMDA
long
one
did?
time with some friends.
Yeah. How long
Sorry?
after
How long did it last?
How long after? Well, when you inhaled it and you were sick, how long did?
No, I
How long
wasn't
after
sick
did
then.
you start?
I wasn't sick.
Oh, you weren't.
I wasn't sick when I
Okay,
inhaled it.
But when you had the CB,
It lasted at least 8 hours, at least. Because after that, I went over to see my friend
Wow.
on the
Okay.
East Bank, and I could not see anything but this angelic face. I kept telling
Wow.
him how beautiful he was, his eyes, how gorgeous he was. He is so enlightened as far as he's a dervish, and he's very, very religious. And we were talking about stories having to do with the Sufi and stories about the Bible. And we were talking all this enlightening stuff. And my heart was blasted wide open. I'm not kidding. And I'm looking at people and I'm seeing, and this happened to me once before, but I wasn't taking anything then, where you see the angelic being that is the person. Everybody has it in them, but you see it. You see it through them. It's like looking at a glass. You see their higher self. It's bizarre.
Yeah,
And
I was
you
just
just
gonna
look
say,
at them
it's
and
the
stare
higher
at them.
self.
You can't believe it.
Yeah,
You're like,
'cause that's
oh my
pure-
God, how
pure
They're
love
saying it's
beautiful you
supposed to
really
help
are.
get
If
you
you
there to
only
that
knew.
point. Yeah. hmm
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say how beautiful you are, and you just stare at them in total shock because it's shining through. You can see what they're going to
Now,
become, even if they're
Dalibor,
not there yet.
the article also said, Dalibor, that you can use this plant in whole or in part for various other positive health effects as an astringent, a diuretic, a treatment for tissue inflammation. That's what I'm interested in there. An antioxidant and anti-inflammatory property is contained within it. So it'll help you with a range of blood-related issues like nosebleeds, blood in the lung, urine, irregular bleeding or
David.
spotting in women, sleep aid to reduce anxiety and stress relief, to help you with your dreaming state.
Exactly.
The seeds are even powerful with
Yeah.
potent antiviral and anti-aging effects that fight off free radicals and preserve youthfulness. There's no end to the
Well,
qualities of this
exactly.
plant.
Exactly.
It's
But
an
I should point
angel.
out, I
It's a
should
living
point out
angel.
that the European equivalent of those same exact effects you can get from the ordinary garlic plant, which is also an astringent.
That's what I was thinking, because you were
It
telling me, and I'm like, it
lowers blood
sounds like the
pressure.
garlic plant.
Yes.
Been
Yeah.
there, done that.
And
But garlic, it's not. No, it's not at all like garlic. And you have to have the experience to know that it isn't. Okay. I know that garlic has all these properties, but I don't know how to explain how powerful it is. It's been kept a secret for all this time,
Yeah.
all my life, 50 years. Gary Young of Gary Young Essential Oils was trying to get his hands on it. He got a hold of a hybrid plant in Thailand. All right, this is what happened. He didn't say anything to me. I said, Gary, this is not a plant that you could just grow like a corn plant. It's a holy plant. I said, it's not going to be allowed to use it commercially. You cannot. It is a holy plant. It has to be
Mhm.
used for what it came here for. And he didn't believe me. Anyway, he went off and he planted a whole big field full of these hybrids. The next day, he's in Utah, right? The next day, a big storm came. He said it was the most violent thing he'd ever seen. It ripped them all out.
Wow.
He didn't try it. He didn't try it again. I said, please don't, Gary. Please don't. I said, you're not chosen to bring it in. I said, the reason you're not is because you used to be aware of the holiness of the sacred oils. And then Young Living went off onto a commercial trip, and it's all about making money. And I said, when you did that, it was closed. Closed, we're closed. No more. You can't bring this flower in and commercialize it. That's
Sacred
what
flower.
Bakra and I have many discussions. He's like the old priest of the lotus. He's the wisest. That picture you had of the man with the papyrus, that's Bakra. And he has had it for ages. He's had the nymphaea, and he's got like 4 pools. And I told him, I said, that whole yard, I'd dig that whole fucking yard up, and I'd have a great big pond and have millions of them growing. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to do it. Last time I saw him, he was getting a little greedy, though. I said, Bakra, I said, can I have a couple of plants? He goes, no, I'm going to grow some more. I said, oh my God, really? You mean I have to go to Uganda? And he goes, yeah, you have to go to you. I said, fuck you. I'm
That
going
was
to
a
Uganda
good
and get
article,
the real
Lori.
thing.
Thank you.
You know?
Mhm.
So,
Good
Yes, it
article.
was. Yeah. Actually,
that was awesome.
you know, I should point out the fact that it was a sacred plant even back in ancient Egypt, which means that it wasn't available for the common, ordinary person. It wasn't used by anybody else except the priest class and the nobility. And I can tell from personal experience, having been to Egypt, that you just don't see this plant growing along the Nile. I mean, I personally have never seen it. So, you know,
no, it
here in Europe,
disappeared.
we
It
do.
disappeared because they trashed
Yes.
the Nile. They trashed it.
Excuse
Yes,
me
it
just a
is trash.
second. Let me, because I have this same question, because I want to know if we can bring it here.
Yes.
So the question here, okay, Caroline says, can someone please tell me if anyone can grow lotus flower, or is it only in Africa? And my question is can we import the seeds and try to grow it here in our own lily ponds?
Probably not. Probably requires the same temperature gradient as they have in Egypt, which is predominantly warm. It's you know, it never gets that
You
warm
could grow
here
it in
in
New
this part
Orleans.
of
You could
Europe.
grow it in places like Florida, New Orleans, California, in certain areas, but not going to be the same plant because it doesn't have the Nile mud and the Egyptian sun. That's what to make the difference. There's no sun like the sun in Egypt. I'm telling you, it is unbelievable, and it is pure and full of light. And the I don't know how to say it. When it gets hot here, it's like being in hell. You cannot believe
Yeah.
how hot it gets.
Yes,
But the
China.
plant-
It is
the
true.
plant
China does grow
loves
it.
it.
Hmm.
China tries to do everything, but it's not the same because it's not growing in Africa. Africa is its hi, elderberry. Hi,
Was it Uganda? Isn't it Uganda in particular?
Uganda is its birthplace. Its place of
Uh-huh.
origin is Uganda, and it is. Hey, you sweet boy.
Hi, Barry.
Good boy.
So you could actually.
You could grow it.
Yeah. Now you guys in Egypt are replanting it all over. Where do you have specific locations? That's the
Well,
plan.
what
Hi,
I'm doing
Jules.
is. Hi, June. Hi,
How you
sweetie.
doing, Julianne?
What's going on? Is that
Hello,
Crystal with
everybody.
you?
We can grow.
Which is
We can grow.
I think
We
her
can
mic
grow
is on
lotus
mute.
in Australia. We've got them growing in our
Yes.
area.
I know you
do
do, but
ya?
it's not the same.
No,
It will
Can't
have
hear.
certain properties because I have had it from Thailand. I have had it from different places. But when you have it in Egypt, where it's Africa is its home, where you have that Nile mud and the sun, there's no comparing it. I mean, if you're using it for inhalation therapy, which is what I do, I will not do any violence to this plant. So when the plant knows that it's loved, and it has a consciousness just like everything else. Animals
Sure,
know
I'm
when
sure
you're
it does.
peaceful with them and you love them. Animals know.
Yeah.
Children know.
Yep.
The plant is holy. It's
Well,
so
let's let
holy that I
Julie-
can't
let's
do
let
it. I can't take
Julianne-
it out of the. I'm like,
let's let Julianne explain a little bit about
Yeah, let her
how
talk about
you're
it.
using it Jules, how are you guys using it there in Australia? Do you use it for medicine? She has a lag, so we have to give her time to.
Or people just use it for the bouquets. I've seen them, and then they use the seeds for different things. That's all. I haven't got. I've only got lilies. I haven't got lotus growing at my place. I've only got lilies growing at my place. But I have had lotus given to me at a market. And they've got the most beautiful, of course, scent, and the seeds the pods that they give off the seeds. I've attempted, but I've never grown them successfully in my pond. It's not deep enough.
Right.
But we're at a freedom rally here.
They don't
guys.
grow in deep water.
Oh,
They
cool.
don't grow in deep water, sweetheart.
A freedom rally. Oh, wow.
Yeah, cool.
Nice.
What's going? Cool as hell.
Some kind of freedom rally. Yeah,
What is
okay,
that for?
good.
Is that for, protest of the damn COVID shit?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Wishing Australia the best.
Rocket Man.
Yes, absolutely. Lots of support.
Yeah, Jules is going to be. You giving a speech?
So
Jules?
everybody's
Ooh, we got some laggy.
Yes, a major
Laggy
lag.
Mhm.
I've already had a meeting this morning with our Queensland Assembly. Things are going ahead just fine, guys. Like I've always said, we've won,
Mhm.
and it's going to show in the next few weeks that how far we've advanced. Okay,
Good,
Mhm. Mhm.
good, good.
just
Excellent.
watch for the beginning
Mabruk.
of October.
As they say in
Okay.
Egypt.
It's good times. I've just come to give you a good
What
notice
are we
that
talking
it's all
about here?
happening and that we've already won.
Hang on, Khadijah. We just need to let her get her message out.
The timeline's
sorry.
getting quicker and quicker.
Yeah, they are. And you guys are doing a lot there in your community to
We talking
Yeah,
about
you are.
COVID now?
take it back. Yeah, everything,
Yeah.
Khadijah, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sanctions, lockdown,
Alhamdulillah.
everything.
God
Yeah.
bless you.
Yeah.
Yep. We wish you all the best, Jules.
Yes, Jules.
Yes.
And you have our
love
support. You
you.
know that.
Jules,
We're saying
thank
that.
you. Thank you, Jules.
Yep.
Mhm.
She popped out.
Yeah, she's got
Wow.
more delay than
She's on her
usual where
phone.
she
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Mhm, must
Yeah.
be difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good message.
Maybe they're
though.
trying to keep her from talking, bastards.
Mm-hmm.
Look at my boy. He's cutie. Rocket
All right,
Man.
so we didn't mean to cut you off, but we wanted to give Jules a chance to say hi. And so, Dalibor, did you get anything else out of that article? Did you get
Yes,
anything out of that you want to address?
Yes, I did some additional research on the lotus and its role in ancient Egypt, and it's a
Use your
unique
wood.
plant because it incorporates the so-called golden section, which is also incorporated in like Egyptian architecture, specifically the Great Pyramid. And I'm sure you're familiar with the golden section. It's a mathematical formula, it's a deceptively simple one, where if you have a section, any kind of section, and call it Z, and divide it into two parts, X and Y, where X divided by Y equals Y divided by Z, where X plus Y equals 1. And the values for X and Y are 0.619 and 1.619 respectively. So, if I've tried this on my own and there's really no way to derive that equation or, get those values for X and Y without resorting to calculus, which obviously the ancient Egyptians must have been, in control of to some degree. But the fact that it manifests in the seeds of the lotus plants, the flowers of the lotus plant, and ancient Egyptian architecture means that they were aware of this, because otherwise they wouldn't have built it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty much proof of the fact that they had some access to higher mathematics. So that would be like what I got from that article.
Interesting. Wow.
Definitely, yeah.
Oh, definitely. Do you ever read R.A. Swallow de Lubitsch?
I've heard the name before. I know that John Anthony West was kind of a fan of his, and so is NEXT.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of research
you
on
will love his work. Get him his book, because he talks about that very thing. Pi, they knew what pi was. They understood all that.
Yeah, that would be
In
phi.
fact,
Yes.
Pythagoras came down He came down to Egypt to study, and they considered him a
Yes, he did.
neophyte. They considered him, the priest considered him like a neophyte, and he gets all the press now. But when it was Egypt that taught him what he knew.
Yeah.
You know
Pythagoras discovered the Pythagorean
Pythagoras?
theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared, and he also
He
discovered
didn't
the
discover
relationships.
nothing. He didn't discover it.
Well,
He didn't
it's
discover it.
attributed
They
to
taught
him.
it to him, the priesthood.
Mm. Mm.
I know.
Hmm.
He's like those
Oh.
people that learn something and they don't tell you where they get the source from. They considered him a child. The priesthood considered him a neophyte of Egypt. They considered him, he came there and and he says, I can't talk about what they educated me in the mysteries.
Yeah, well,
Funny
the
thing about
Egyptians were aware of the fact that there had been a global catastrophe, and that there was they were trying to catch up on all the technology, which is one of the reasons why they started the Library of Alexandria, where any travelers that were known to be, men of science or men of letters or whatever, they were encouraged to leave their documents or leave their manuscripts at the library, where they would make copies of them, and then keep those
And
for
then it
their
got
own
burned to the
research.
ground, damn it.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, who did that?
They used it to burn
We
for
know
their
who
You know
did
what
homes,
that.
the heat, the water. They burned a
Fuckers.
lot of the
Who
library.
did?
Yes.
Who did?
Yeah.
The
In
Romans?
Alexandria. I'm not sure who exactly, but
I have a dream. I have a dream that it's been hidden. I don't believe the priesthood would ever allow all their sacred books to be burned. They are hidden somewhere. Maybe they took them to Upper Egypt, to Hermopolis, or to the city of Tohot, which is wisdom, and they're buried, and they're going to find them, and they're going to go crazy when they find them. A bunch of them have been hidden for that very reason, because as you know, the Bible has gone through, I don't know how many changes. The Council of Nicaea met to decide what went in and what didn't. There are a lot of things that were taken out of the Bible, reincarnation for one, but it slipped in anyway. If you read if you read the Bible, you'll see it's in there. Christ was asked, was this man born blind before he was born? And Christ said, no, he was born to show the grace and mercy of God. In other words, how could he have been born before he was born? They were already talking about his other life. And people saying he was Elijah. Some people say I'm Elijah. Some people, they talk about reincarnation all through the Bible. And the holy rollers didn't catch it because they were trying to say there's no such thing. And it's all through the Bible if you read it, just like different other books. But they took it out. The Christians took it out. And the Gnostics, kept it and they hid it. And they found a bunch of Gnostic texts. I remember because I was staying in the Department of Antiquities guest house in Tel Amarna. And I was told they had just found the most recent Bible, a Gnostic Bible. And I was shown the papyrus. It was, of course, in fragments, but it was unbelievable. Good night, Carolyn. Somebody say good night.
Yep.
But anyway, back to the Blue Lotus, which is our subject matter. There is no way to describe it. I have taken MMDA. I have taken cocaine. I have taken. I don't care if anybody knows this. I'm 74 and I don't give a shit. I wanted to know about consciousness.
right.
And for your information, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the astronaut, was also interested in consciousness. So those people who take ayahuasca, I had just had the woman. Did anybody know Kathleen Bell?
Yes.
Kathleen Ball. Fabulous woman. Went down.
Oh, yes.
She had a liver transplant. All right. She went down to stay with the native people down in the jungles in Brazil, went on a ayahuasca journey with a shaman and completely healed her liver. Completely healed it.
Wow.
She has a new liver and her body kept rejecting it. She was sick. She was having her health was going down. Now she's totally well and not taking any medication and her liver function is normal.
Amazing.
That's how strong
That's
this stuff,
amazing.
the shaman wisdom, the people of the jungle. Yeah. There's a lot of healing that, medicine is a business. I hate to tell you guys, but it's a damn business. In case you haven't noticed, the pharmaceutical companies, how much money they're making.
That's kind of
It's
what
business.
I'm wondering is how is it that the pharmaceuticals the big pharmas haven't gotten a hold of this lotus and taking it to town and
because
just
they're not
taking it
allowed
over.
to. Same reason that Gary wasn't. Gary was a multimillionaire. He could have marketed the hell out of it. Kathleen just shared her most recent test results with us. She's completely thrilled.
Wow.
Alhamdulillah. God
Awesome,
bless you,
Audrey.
Kathleen.
Awesome.
Kathleen, we love you, baby.
And Audrey knows her.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course Audrey knows her.
She's
Audrey knows everyone.
Kathleen is a big deal. I mean, she's getting ready to come out with, she did that great movie on the Knights Templar, which made a discovery that they actually went to Brazil, and
Yes,
that
I
made a
heard that.
documentary, and it's won all kinds of awards. She's really big shot. She's a big deal now. Finally, she deserves it. If you know her, she's an angel. She's a doll. She wants to come to Egypt with a group. And this is funny. You'll love this. I said, you got to come to Egypt, experience the lotus. She goes, so she gets 10 women together. Pretty soon they all start arguing over, I'm not going with him. He's not vaccinated. I'm not going with her. She's vaccinated. I'm not going. They started fighting with each other over COVID. And I said, just cancel the trip for right now. Really, just cancel it. Because I said, who needs all this negative energy before you even lift off the airport,
Right on.
Everybody fighting over who's going to get COVID and who isn't. We say in Egypt, if it's your kismet, if it is your destiny to die from COVID, no one can stop it. And if it isn't, no one can cause it.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
We believe in kismet. We believe in
Exactly.
fate. And God is in control and you are not. So just let go and stop. Let go and let God, so to speak.
Look at it.
Nobody
look at it
over
this
here
way.
gives a shit.
Look at it this way. Every year, on average, 3 people die in New York City from falling air conditioners. Okay, that's a very unlikely type of death, but it still happens.
Yeah.
All
It
in air
happens.
conditioners?
Yes.
God.
Yeah,
And then
Wow.
how many people die from having sex and have a heart attack? The man or the woman?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes
Yeah.
10 undertakers 5 hours to wipe the smile off their face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm terrible.
Or the weird thing.
That's funny.
What a way to go, though.
That's a way to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
Listen, you came as you went.
just when you think it's over.
You came as you went.
Yeah.
Oh my
Or
God, I'm so crazy.
Or the
That's the Blue
thousand
Lotus,
people.
by the way. It's still happening.
Or the thousands of
Hi.
people who die of being attacked by sharks or struck by
Yeah.
lightning.
Yep. Yep.
Like these wildly improbable things, but they still
Yeah.
happen.
Lightning's a good one.
Yeah, lightning.
Lightning's a
Yeah,
good
I
one.
mean,
This lightning is like, now you're here and now you're not.
sometimes you get lightning out of a clear blue sky, and it's happened. It happens to that one famous instance where it
did you
happens to
ever
that one
see that-
preacher. That one preacher who said, and if I'm lying, may God strike me down this very second, and like a bolt of lightning comes down and strikes him dead.
Really?
Amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
You're kidding.
okay, bug.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Did you guys see that? It was on the internet. Somebody got a picture. I couldn't believe this. It's amazing. A picture of a bolt of lightning striking the ocean. And it was right at the moment when it came down. And I went, holy shit, that's exactly what happened to me. I'm a thunderstorm freak. I love thunderstorms. And
Thanks,
I'm on
Audrey.
the beach at Pompano, and a big storm is coming. And I run and I get I get under the shelter, and everybody else ran into the restaurant. And I said, you bunch of chicken shits. And I'm under this little shelter, and it's raining and hailing and shit. And I'm right by the pier, and all of a sudden, this great big bolt of lightning. It would have had to have been 50 feet across. That's how big the electrical bolt was. Hit here, and I looked and I saw everybody in the window going, it hit that pier. I couldn't move. The electricity was so strong, my hair was like standing up. And if that had hit me, there wouldn't even be not even one little ash left. It would have taken me off the planet. Biggest bolt of lightning I've ever seen. I mean, God, and the sound, I was thrilled. I said, well, if I go, I hope that's how I go. Shit, yeah, we're here today and gone tomorrow, man. Oh, man.
Did
But
you
we
have
don't have it here. We don't have
Did you
it
have a
here.
near-death experience from that? Was that where that came from? You did have a near-death
No,
experience, right?
I've had several, but the most recent one is quite interesting. Do you want to hear about it?
Yes,
like
please.
see
I
what
wanted
happened?
to. I told
Bizarre
folks
as
we would
hell.
be covering that. Yeah. Yep. Please.
Well, I had, now let me tell you something. The doctors over here are not the sharpest knives in the drawer. I had what's called
No.
H. pylori, which is a very serious bacterial infection. And it can cause cancer. It can cause stomach ulcers. And I had a bleeding ulcer going on and I didn't know it. All I knew was my pee-pee looked like blood. And all I know is my doo-doo had blood in it. And I went, oh, that's nothing. I probably used a hemorrhoid, you know. I was like, fuck it, you know. So anyway, so I kept bleeding and I was getting gray, sicker and more anemic. And I didn't know it. Well, we get the doctor. I just felt like shit. And this particular day, my driver said, Khadija, we have to pay all the people for your boat and all the staff. I dragged I should have stayed in the bed. I had been in the bed for a month nearly, couldn't get out of the bed. And I dragged myself to the damn bank, right? And here I am like half dead. And I said to the woman, I need 15,000 Egyptian pounds. So she says, okay. And then I said to my driver, go get it. Would you please bring it? Because I can't stand up. And they go, oh, no, we can't put that in his hand. We have to put it in your hand. I said, he's like my family. They go, no, I'm sorry, Spank. So I stood up, and when I stood up, I walked toward the woman. She looked at me like, and I said, you're looking at the face of death, because I was so ill. I said, I'm not going to make it. I'm just not going to make it. And she had a horrified look on her face. So I turned around with the money in my hand, and I separated from my body. I separated. It was weird. There were two of me. There was 1, 2, and I'm looking through these bodies at my driver, and I'm thinking, am I going to fall? And I pulled back, and the me was consciousness. The me was nothing but the most beautiful, quiet consciousness, observing everything, just watching.
Ooh.
And I went, damn. And I'm looking at this other body, which is electrical. It's electrical. And it's like, and then I'm looking through the other body at this. The Egyptian symbol is a dead fish for this. Because it smells like that when you die, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. The empty shell.
Went,
Your
oh,
empty
Bach
shell.
Kainok. Immediately, immediately I understood the three bodies, what they're showing you. The Ba, which is the soul, the head on a bird, which comes back to look at the dead body. And I went, damn, they all three were me, but they each had their own energy. But the real thing was the real you, and I'm saying this to all three of you, is the observer. It's a simple, conscious awareness that is pure peace. And it just observes. It's like, oh, this is a movie I'm watching now. It's weird. It's like you don't go anywhere. You're already there. I didn't go anywhere. I was already there. I thought, well, I thought I went somewhere when I kicked the bucket, but you don't. You go back into
It's like a light
yourself.
switch, right? Yeah. Just like a switch.
So you just went back inside of.
Well, it's like
That's
like
interesting.
well, what happens is it's like when you're watching a movie, right? You're observing the movie and you're in the movie and all this shit's going on and you're part of it, but you're not part of it. You're observing it. But that's what you're doing, which, you know, you're watching yourself do all this stuff, but never change. You're always eternal. That's what's bizarre about it.
You know, that's
This doesn't
interesting
die.
because
That
a lot of
dies.
people
And it
a lot of
separates
people that
from
have
you.
these near-death experiences
Wow.
will see a light at the end of a tunnel, or they'll get a sensation of being swept into a beam of light with their relatives that passed long before them. Yours is really,
But it's not out there. It's in here. It's in here. It's not out
inside.
there. That's what you hear. You hear this all the time. You hear this from masters. It's in you. It's in you. It's not out there somewhere. It's in you. You are creating it. You're creating all that. You don't know it. But I did. I said, holy crap. Listen, you hear it? The call to prayer. It's beautiful. 1,000 voices.
Yeah, I hear
They
it.
say God is great. There is no God but God. You hear it?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. 5 times a day. 5 times a day, whether you like it or not, you think of God. But God now it's going to blow your mind. You are it. You are that. You are that.
Yeah.
Thou art that. They say that in Hinduism, and everybody goes, oh, what's that? Because they really don't get it, but you are that. And everybody is that.
Yeah.
So it is not like it's your, okay, this other body has a personality that you accrued when you were born. from your DNA, from your parents, from your background.
Mm-hmm.
That's not you. Then you have an electrical you, which is the nuts and bolts
The
of your
eternal part, that's
higher
you.
body,
The eternal
your
part.
light body.
Yes.
The eternal
Yep.
part is conscious. You're just simply consciousness.
Consciousness.
You don't
yeah.
die and you're not born. You just always
Nope.
were.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
people
And
don't
you always
realize
will
this.
be.
They
Yeah,
think they
you
go
always will
somewhere.
be.
They think they go up to heaven, down to hell. What?
Mhm.
No, you're always there. It's always, see, that's so thrilling to find out. The
Yeah.
joy and the peace that you never were born and you never died. This is
Mhm.
what freaks people out. They go, what?
Right.
And then you look and you observe and you see your body and you go, oh my God, that's not me. That's what I was wearing for
Yeah.
that particular lesson. I was wearing
Yeah.
that body
Mhm.
made up of the DNA and the whatever I chose to be born in this life, with all of
Yeah.
its DNA from your parents, your grandparents, and the diseases, and all of that is in that body. It's not in you. When I left my
Hey,
body, I was
Khadijah.
light. Yes,
Wow.
yes, Elderberry, yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Khadijah, we have
You're
in
light.
the chat room. In the chat room tonight, we have Rocky Stucci from Abnormal Realities. He has a show with Ron Phillips. I don't know if you've had a chance to subscribe or take a look at their show, but you've got some phenomenal stories that you could
Mhm.
probably share with Rocky about
Oh my
some
God, you can't
really interesting things that have happened to you in Egypt in those temples late at night and in the pyramids. So you
We
should
should show.
you should send an email to Rocky and connect with Rocky, because some of those stories that you've told me are just mind blowing and they're perfect discussion for his show.
We
Well,
should
it's
show
all
that
going on
picture.
now.
Oh yeah, show that one
It's
picture.
all going on
Lori.
now.
I know
What?
it's increasing in activity over there, isn't it? The paranormal activity going on in these temples is
It
just off the
seems to
charts.
be, well, because I've come to Egypt when I was in my first trip was in 1969, do the math. And I've come every year, almost every year.
Yeah.
It seems to be coming back, because back then I could do anything I wanted to. Nobody gave a damn. I'd spend the night in the pyramid. I spent the night, like, I don't know how many nights inside the King's Chamber. Now they control everything because they get a lot of money for that. But I used to do it all the time. The man was like my father. He had the key. He'd lock me in.
Wow.
I'd go up there and I'd spend the night.
Wow.
We have that
I don't
photo
know how
you
many
sent
times
us
I've been
of
in there.
is it
And the
Bastet?
things that happen, holy
Sekhmet.
shit.
Sekhmet?
Yeah, Khadijah, you
Sekhmet,
sent us a
period.
picture.
Did I send you?
Yeah.
Did I send you?
Yeah, and we
Uh-huh.
wanted to show that for you
Did I
because
send
it
you the
wasn't in the
picture?
video. Yes, can I show that and you can explain it?
Yes. Would you like to? Yeah. Did you get the one of me in Horus's temple and Horus appearing in the form of the king of Upper Egypt? Show that one. That one's very strong. If you've had it.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
this
now
is the
this
one
is
that I have.
Sekhmet's temple.
Yes, Sekhmet. I knew
All right.
that.
So what
she is
happened here?
You can see she's turning into a. All right. The light comes down from the ceiling. This is the people. Everybody is metaphysical groups are allowed in. No one else. See all the energy here.
I see the orbs.
See all the
look at all the orbs.
globes. All right.
Yeah, the
All
orbs
right.
are everywhere. Okay.
Look at her. She is appearing as Bastet. She's a cat.
Yes.
You see that? She's not a lioness. She's a cat. She's showing them her face as Bastet. I love this picture because it really shows.
Wow.
She will transform her. They say she informs her statue. In other words, she comes in as energy, and she comes down into the statue. She actually does. She looks at you through her eyes. It makes your hair stand straight up because she's there. I had an inspector with me when I went in. Scared the shit out of her. She goes, "I'm terrified." I said, "There's nothing to be afraid of as long as you're living the life of truth." Because they're afraid of her because she will kill you. She can kill you. She is the goddess of medicine, disease, pestilence, war. She's the raging lioness. She is revenge. She is, revenge for evil. I'm talking about, not for good people. You don't have to be afraid of her as long as you're not, as long as you're a loving soul. If
Good
you're evil,
person,
she will destroy you. She loves doing that. She loves doing it.
She'll take you
The
out.
story goes that the story goes that Ra, the god Ra, was weeping one day and his tears were falling. And the ibis-headed god asked him, "What's wrong?" And he said, "I'm sorry I created humanity. They are so evil. They're horrible. This is long before Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. This is ancient times. And he was weeping. So all of a sudden, his left eye jumped out in the form of a lioness. And she said, Father, let me go down. I will take care of it. He goes, I don't care. Do what you will. And he looked the other way and she went down to the earth. Pissed off. I'm telling you, angry as hell. How dare you do this to him, my father? How dare you be evil? You horrible people. And she was raging. And she was killing them and slashing them and biting them and everything. So she, you know, there was blood everywhere. She was just destroying everything. And so Tahat looked back, Ra looked back and went, oh no, what have I done? Come back, come back. She goes, Father, I'm going to take care of it. So he goes, what am I going to do now? So Tahat comes in, the ibis-headed god of wisdom. He said, let me go down to the earth and let me see if I can calm her down. He goes, flies down to the earth and she's raging and raging and raging. And he goes, oh my goodness, she's out of control. So he goes and he instructs people to stomp red grapes and produce wine. All right, takes the wine, pours it in the temple like a pool of blood.
Yeah.
And then it goes behind the pylon and watches as she comes roaring in, looking to kill somebody. And she sees this blood. She goes, ha, that must be from last night. And she goes, no, starts licking it up, gets drunk as a skunk, and starts laughing and dancing and turns into the domestic cat Bastet.
Wow.
Now that's a story.
Wow.
And now every year, and we're going to do this, I'm not kidding. When we get the temple raised, we're going to have the Festival of Bastet. Everybody would come from all over Egypt, thousands, millions, and they'd come down the Nile on the boats, right? Drunk. The idea was to get completely drunk like Bastet, like Sekhmet, and turn yourself into Bastet. So there are stories of women just drunk as hell, going past the villages and insulting the women and mooning them. That's ancient mooning. Drop your drawers, show your ass, right? They were like, you're stupid, you know, and everybody would get drunk for like a week. It was the biggest festival in Egypt. And everybody would celebrate Bastet, the joy and the beauty of the cat. And so this temple was located on an island. This is what we're restoring, inshallah. It's located on an island, which was only accessible by one gate. And so the whole thing was an island, and Herodotus said it was the most beautiful temple in Egypt. I don't know. I imagine it was because there were thousands of cats there, where they raised the big cats there as well, lions and tigers, which they hunted and fought with Pharaoh during war. Can you imagine an army coming towards you with like 500 lions, cheetahs, everything else about the attack?
God, no. Wow.
This is what they did. So they raised
Khadijah,
the
gotta stop
cats.
you, honey.
So
I gotta cut you off. I hate to do it. I hate to do it, but it's 10:30. We've gone a half an hour over our normal
good
time. But
I'm
just
so
wanted
sorry.
to,
Excuse me.
That's okay.
All right.
No, it's been enjoyable. If we could, we would go on forever. But
sure.
But we gotta end it at some point.
Tuned.
We're gonna have you back for more episodes, right?
I hope so.
You'll be back for more, right, Khadijah?
Thumbs up. Yep.
I want to take you. I really want to take you live to the temple when I'm there, to the well of Jesus Christ. This is something new. But before I go, I want to tell you, this is where the child Jesus drank from this well. It's going to be a holy pilgrimage site, and it is. They're repairing the whole area for that. It's going to be a big deal.
Sounds
that
like
proves that Christ was taken care of by the priesthood of Bastet, because it's on an island. You can't get to it any other way.
Wow.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to get some on the ground footage of the activity, what they're doing to venerate it, and once they get it uncovered.
I have pictures of it that I'll post for you, but I'm not in Bubastis right now. I'm quite a ways from it. But when I go up there, I'm gonna have some live footage of John West's memorial service, and all the great people that Andy XT, and interview all those people. And we'll have that on maybe, inshallah, maybe next Friday. I don't know. But I don't know when they're coming down there in Giza. They're coming to Luxor today. And we're having a big memorial service for John. It's going to be a blast. And I want to share it with everybody. We'll be telling stories about John and when we did the film, Mysteries of the Sphinx and the whole thing. Okay?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Great. Absolutely awesome. Yeah.
Love you all. I love you all.
Thank you too,
Khadijah.
Hang on here, Khadijah. Stay on, Khadijah. Don't hang up, and we'll go
Yes,
ahead and
ma'am.
phase out. And
Mhm.
All right.
at Dalibor, did you have anything you needed to say? Or
Well, yeah, I think I've pretty much said it all. Yeah.
okay, just wanted to give you an opportunity.
Yeah.
Well,
Just give
everyone,
my love to Germany.
Yes.
I love Germany.
Thank you.
let's put out
Thank-
some intents for Crystal
Let me get some coffee.
MacArthur
I'll be
and Joey, and they're having some struggles, and put some intents out there for basically anybody in the Soul Tribe right now who's feeling it, because a lot of people are. We
Mhm.
want you guys to know we love you, we stand with you, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for
Yep.
joining us tonight. Goodbye,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye-bye.